Hannah, are you planning on coming out again for another one of our family reunions? You really are quite the stubborn girl, aren't you, considering that you don't even have any connections to the rest of my family?
Good evening, Pam. I am planning on coming out again to your family reunion, but I didn't think that was going to cause such a problem for you.
Well, it will be a huge problem for us here, indeed. You really are going to be getting in all of our ways by showing up yet again, and I'd like to recommend you stay home instead.
Wait, I really don't see how I'm getting in the way.
I've heard that recently you've been complaining about having to work over and over again, and that's why you never make anything for my son to eat. Ken is going to starve because of you. Start feeding my son some more meals soon, or else. Can't you see the whole reason he's coming back home to me all the time is because you never make him any food? He always comes in saying that he hasn't eaten in days, and that you're never home to help make him something after he gets out of work. Seriously, why did he have to end up marrying such a useless woman as you?
I'm sorry, but in my case, I happen to have a lot of work going on and not a lot of time to be home. And so to make sure that things around the house don't go sideways, I ask him to handle some of the chores for me. He should be more than capable of cooking for himself if he needs to, and I am totally fine with him dining out if he doesn't have the time or drive to cook.
Really?
So now do you understand why I haven't always been there to cook for him recently?
I cannot believe any of this.
What?
Making your husband do all the cooking and chores for you? What the hell do you think you're doing to my son? He should be out working a job himself instead of sucking up to a wife like you.
Huh? Well, right now I'm the one working outside the house for the most part.
Well, I've never heard anything about that from him. I'm telling you right now that you forcing him to do all the housework while you go out and play around is what makes you an awful wife. Can't you see you're an embarrassment?
I feel that you coming to talk to me about all of this is not the right choice. I'd recommend you go talk with your son if you have any further things to talk about. Goodbye now.
Ken even said it himself. He's told me that he's starting to think that getting a divorce isn't all too bad of an idea after all.
Excuse me? Is that something Ken has really said about us?
Well, of course it is. If he wasn't saying these things right now, then why would I be lying to you about it? From what it looks like, Ken is starting to become really stressed out by what you've been doing to him. I think he's at his limits now with the way you've been handling things. And I'm sure you're well aware my son can find another wife after you in seconds. After all, you are just an old hag at this point, and he's better off throwing you in the garbage and finding himself a younger and more attractive wife.
So he's really been saying these things? Well, it might also be that you're having delusions about all of that, and he's never said anything close to what you're thinking. I guess I really should go have a chat with him about all of this now. Well, I'm going to ask him later today then what he thinks.
I've already told him about how it's time he leaves you, and that I have your guys' divorce papers all ready to go and everything now. I think the best option for you now is to start looking for a new place to live after he leaves you.
Thank you for the recommendation. I'll think about it.
I'm not joking around anymore. Hurry up and come back here right now. Where did you run off to anyway?
I felt that I was no longer needed in a place like that, so I went ahead and made my way out. Not only were you making jabs at me before today, but when I arrived to see everyone, you started to pick on me even more. But I guess I'm not all too surprised since you've been acting like that towards me for a while now. And this time I just happened to realize I can't take that crap from you anymore.
What's gotten into you? Are you trying to say it's my fault you're leaving now?
Well, aren't you being a terrible mother-in-law to me?
Excuse me?
I was already prepared for you to say some pretty mean things to me today at their reunion. But today you said that everyone would be allowed to eat that Wagyu steak, except for me, who you called a stranger. And then following that, you continued to call me names like a fifth grader would. Well, I'm not going to be your punching bag any longer, Pam.
What's so bad about that? I mean, you are a stranger after all, right? How could any of us ever consider calling you a part of our family? And as of right now, you already know that Ken is going to divorce you, and then you really will be a complete stranger, right?
I know that very well. And I know that you will go as far as it takes to make sure that I'm aware that you don't see me as part of your family. But today was too much for me. I could no longer sit around letting you act that way towards me.
What are you going on about? You're the one that came to our family event uninvited, so can you stop whining about what I said about you? Maybe if you would have just listened to me and never came in the first place, you wouldn't have to be crying like a baby now.
Ah, is that so? So you're going to tell me it's my fault now that you made the atmosphere of the reunion go sour?
That's right. Who else besides you could have caused all that? Today was supposed to be the day my family got together to enjoy one another's company and eat some dang good steak. And since you came uninvited, you're only allowed to eat the fat caps.
I'm going home.
Oh my, you really did let all of this get to you.
Say whatever you'd like about me and what I'm doing. I see there is no further meaning to me being around you today, and that's why I'm heading home. But listen, Pam.
What?
I'm totally fine with us both becoming complete strangers since that's what you want. But know that I won't be the one in trouble after I've gone home. Please don't forget what I've said, okay?
Huh? What the hell are you talking about? I'm so happy right now to see that you'll be out of my hair forever. This is the best day of my life.
Is that really how you feel? Well then, I hope you can continue being that happy when I'm gone. I'm heading home now, so good day to you. And make sure to tell Ken that I'm on my way home now as well, and if he wants to know why I've left, tell him to look at the text I'll be sending him shortly.
And while you're at it, you leave my son and get the hell out of his house for me.
I believe that I will go ahead and do that. Now, goodbye.
Hannah, where are you at right now? I'm sure my son has been trying to call you plenty of times as well right now. Why are you not answering his calls?
I don't see any reason to answer his calls, and I'm on my way back home now.
Huh? So you were being serious when you said you'd be going back home?
I told you a few times that I was heading home, didn't I? That should have meant to you that I was indeed going to head home. And why wouldn't I be heading home after the amount of times you bullied me? You even made it pretty clear to everyone that I was only allowed to have the sides while everyone else got to eat that Wagyu steak. All of that crap from you really got on my nerves and actually made me quite angry.
I don't care about what happened to make you leave. Right now, my husband is pissed off at me, and things aren't looking so good anymore.
And he has the right to be pissed at you.
Huh? So this all really is because of you and what you planned?
I didn't plan anything. You just happened to get on my last nerve and made me angry. I had originally really enjoyed everyone in your family and saw myself as a part of you guys. But today I lost all those feelings and no longer see myself as your daughter-in-law. So, I told your husband and your son that I'd no longer be sending you guys any money and that I'd no longer financially support his business.
Huh? Sending us money? Financially supporting his business?
I'm sure you had no idea about any of this going on, but after having heard about this from me, I'm sure your face has turned ghostly white, right? And I'm sure that with your husband being so upset with you now, the reunion is pretty much over, right? It must look like hell there right now with him cussing and flailing his arms around all over the place.
It sure is hell here. He's been tearing into me in front of literally everyone in the family. If anything, he's making it look as though I'm the one that did something wrong here.
Well, you're not wrong to think that you did, in fact, do something very wrong.
It's all because of my husband getting this mad at me that I've been completely embarrassed in front of the whole family. Why is this all happening to me? What the hell is this about you sending us money? And what kind of financial support have you been giving his company?
You seem to be the only person that never knew a thing about both those things. Even Ken knew about all of this. Yet he let you act like that towards me for some reason, making me second guess my relationship to him.
What are you talking about, Hannah? Explain all of this to me right now.
Did your husband not explain it all to you yet? When your husband's company was going under, I came in with the help of my company to help him back up.
Huh? His company was going under?
Last year, one of his customers ended up going bankrupt, so his company never received any of the money promised to him by them, and that led to his company going into the red. And it was expected that his company would fall soon after as well because of all that. But thanks to my company and the fact that I bought a lot of shares in his company, he was saved from having to kiss what made his money goodbye. And ever since then, I've been the primary shareholder of his company.
What kind of story is that? This is the first time I'm ever hearing of such a thing happening to him.
Well, based on how my husband never told you anything, I guess it runs in their genes. And had he explained all of this to you, I'm sure you would have never listened, considering the kind of woman you are.
He didn't need you to help him.
Say whatever you think, but had it not been for me, your husband would have lost his company and after that, all his money. And of course, since he's the father of my husband, I decided to continue supporting his company. But after what's happened with me today, I believe that I no longer can afford to hand over any more money to him, and therefore will stop helping his company stay about the water. That's why I told him a little bit ago about everything. And also, I haven't only been supporting his company through money, but through lending equipment to him. But I'm going to need all that back from him now. So just be aware that his company might not be able to operate after the end of this week.
Wait! I get that you keep going on about your guys' work and everything, but I can't understand half of it.
You did know that I have a company of my own, right?
I knew that. I heard that part from everyone already. But a company being run by a female? Really? I was sure that you only ran a small little place for fun to get out of doing the chores. Perhaps you were just running one of those online-only businesses or something, right?
My work is not for play, and I'd never do anything to try and get out of doing chores unless it were making me millions. And as for online-only businesses, you can make a lot of money through them and influence a lot of people. Of course, my business is a lot more than an online business now, as I have offices everywhere, and I am considered larger than your husband.
I never knew that.
Well, that's just how it is, Pam. And now I'm aware that you don't want me in your family anymore. And for some reason, your son, my husband, doesn't seem to care about how you harassed me all these years. So I'm going to leave your family, now that it's very clear to me there's no way of being seen as your daughter-in-law. I have done all I could to help you and your family through your tough times, but I can no longer afford to do all that for any of you. I'm so happy to be a stranger to you all now.
Hold on, Hannah. What do you mean by that?
I'm saying that I'm going to go ahead and divorce your son. And thanks to that advice you gave me before, I've prepared everything for our divorce, including those divorce papers you gave me. So when I get back home, I'm heading right to City Hall with them and handing them in. And that will make us being strangers official. Isn't that just wonderful?
What? You really went ahead and prepared for that? And Ken was okay with all of it?
He happened to care more about what you told him to think of me than about how I was supporting you guys and your husband's company. Such a freaking idiot he is. He started to talk down to me because he saw that you were picking on me. And to be honest, I was thinking of leaving him even before you recommended it to me. So thankfully, I was in the same boat as all of you and got all this prepared just in time.
But then, what's going to happen with you being the primary shareholder for my husband's company?
Huh? Have you not listened to a single thing I've been saying? I'm going to be leaving your son and become a stranger to you all, so I will no longer invest in your husband's company. And I already told that to your husband, hence why he's so upset with you now.
What? So you actually want to go through with stopping all that support?
Why wouldn't I want to? You made it clear to me that you don't need my money anymore. But hey, thank God we can all be complete strangers now, right?
This isn't about you being a stranger to me now. What are we going to do if my husband's company falls back into the red after you pull your money out? He's only going to become even more pissed at me, and the next time I'm sure he'll not go easy on me.
I don't give a flying frick about what happens to all of you.
Huh?
Jesus freaking Christ, are you that selfish about everything? You've been telling me how much you want me to be a stranger, yet now that I'm leaving you and all your family, you're going to start crying that you want me back again. My husband may not have seen it at the time, but the way you guys treated me is now going to really affect your husband. Big time. So don't cry about it to me, because that's all on you.
What do you mean it's all on me? I'm your mother-in-law. You think you can just blame me for all of this?
I sure do. And I am. And so will your husband. Also, you're not even my mother-in-law anymore. So go screw yourself, please. You asked for me to become a stranger to you, and I answered. But now that I've answered, you might have to find out what to do about your husband's soon-to-fail company.
Excuse me? You're a huge jerk for doing something like this to me.
But this is all the fruits to your labors, correct? Go apologize to your husband now for all of this. And hope to God that your apologies will be enough to get him to forgive you.
What am I going to do, Hannah? All of this could be saved if you just came back here and enjoyed this steak with us, right? You know now that I never meant for things to go this far, right? My husband is seriously going to kill me over this, so please come back.
It's a little bit too late for that, Pam. I'm starting to really feel hungry. So I think I'll go enjoy myself a nice juicy steak on my way home.
You can come back here and have one of the steaks we have. You can have mine and I'll eat something else.
No, thank you. If I came back there and saw your face, I might lose my appetite. Now you go ahead and take care of all your problems yourself, please. You and I are both strangers now, so you shouldn't be asking me to help with your personal troubles anyway. Don't ever talk to me again, okay? And one final thing. This house is under my name, so go tell Ken that he's got nowhere left to go home to now. Well then, you have a wonderful rest of your evening with a husband that wants to kill you and a son that's too stupid to understand what's happened. Even after all that, Pam tried her hardest to come to me asking for help as much as she could. But I had already handed in our divorce papers, and so she was nothing more to me than a complete stranger, as she'd always wanted. And as for her husband being pissed at her, he ended up taking things all the way to court. And there, he forced her to get a divorce from him, and then proceeded to have her kicked out of his house, where she is not left living on the streets. She was also given nothing of his properties due to her having damaged his business with the way she had acted, and so she had nothing to her name besides the clothing on her back and a few other accessories. In Ken's case, I threw all his things out of the house, along with all his furniture, and he ran off to go find his mother before the two of them started to live in a rundown apartment together. He did try one or two times, crying on the front porch to come and get me to let him inside, just a few weeks after the divorce. But I was never home when he was there, and only learned about all this from a neighbor of mine who said they called the police on him since he wouldn't shut up. The rest of the family also cut ties to those two, which has left the both of them still wondering what exactly they did wrong to deserve all of this. Pam's now ex-husband ended up having to sell his company soon after I stopped supporting it, and he sold it to no one other than me, so that I could incorporate it into my company. And he told me in this sale that he was sort of thankful for all that happened, as even he was getting fed up with his son and wife always trying to leech off him. I guess I wasn't the only one that got off okay in the end. And it's really great to hear that he can have a faster start to his retirement now that he doesn't have to support that nasty witch Pam.